Yo, welcome back to Afrowanders. As some of you may know, I've just spent a quarter of a year in the Scandinavian country of Finland for a work assignment. Now, slow travel is a little different than what I'm used to, but I was really happy to get back to exploring regardless, and super excited to show you guys about my adventures there, because it's been a while. Now, it started off as 2 to 4 weeks in Finland for work, turned into 3 months of exploring and adventure, and of course work also. But with the extended amount of time, I was able to see parts of the country that I definitely wouldn't have otherwise. This video is about the smaller towns that were closer to where I lived. I lived in Kotka, but we also hit up towns like Hamina and Porvoo, and also a few national parks, Valkmusa and Repovesi. I was living in a house with some work homies in the small town of Kotka. Now you can say Kotka is divided in 2 major parts. There's the island of Kotka, where the downtown city center is. And I'd honestly say the actual city center of Kotka isn't very pretty. But the real beauty of Kotka to me is in the nature outside of the city center. And once you get off of the island into the mainland, it's filled with forest trails at every corner, and it's not hard to find a beautiful lake or river rapids, even if you're not searching. One of my favorite parks, which was just a 15-minute walk away from home, was Langenkoski. Now the beauty of living there for those 3 months was being able to see the river mostly be a sheet of ice and watching it transform into a raging stream of rapids down the whole riverbank. We explored several parks and random forests throughout our time there. Katarina Seaside Park was a really nice treat as well, with many pieces of art scattered throughout the park to entertain you. It's always nice to have something to stop and look at while on a trail to slow things down a bit. And of course, it being on the seaside just made for incredible sunsets. One breath of fresh air of my stay in Kotka was having roommates, which the idea of having roommates was something that I'd been avoiding for a long time. But it was really nice to have people you like to talk to and enjoy when coming home. We did normal roommate things, watched movies, unloaded after work with some drinks and chats, and even had a few dinner parties thanks to the homie Ayush. And also the work team we had out there was a squad. So we would get together every now and then and do a couple of very finished things. For instance, chilling in the kota, which are these wooden shelters with a fireplace in the middle for cooking or heat. Sitting around a fire brings out something nostalgic and primal in all of us, and it just feels right. So it's a really beautiful tradition that the Finnish have not let go of. It makes me wish the rest of the world was still in touch with that side. Another very Finnish activity we participated in was the Finnish sauna. In Finland, any place with the space for it has a sauna in it, and it's an incredible feature to have in your home. It's a very relaxing experience and also gives you a very intimate bonding session with whoever you have with you. The saunas are either electric or wood-fired. The electric ones, you just click a button and it heats up, while the wood-fired is just like a fireplace. You throw a bunch of logs in the stove and start a fire, it heats up. There's stones on top of the stove to absorb and retain the heat as well as produce steam. Now, especially when you throw a ladle full of water on it, that steam will smack you in the face and it feels so good. And I was really lucky to meet this Kotka native. Her name is Pina, and she showed me around the town and all of her favorite sites around the country as well. During my 3 months there, she became my partner in travel, adventure, and everything else. I traveled a lot of places with her, so you can get used to her. You'll be seeing her a lot. Another town that we spent a lot of time in was Hamina. And we spent a lot of time there because that's where we were working. That's the whole reason we were in Finland. And it's only about 25 minutes away by car from Kotka. Personally, I thought the city center of Hamina was much nicer looking than the center of Kotka. The notable thing about Hamina is that if you look at a map of it, you'll see that the roads are structured in an octagonal way, and it looks really cool from an aerial view. So, even though we didn't spend too much time exploring, did get some cool shots. Check it out. Now Porvoo was the real sleeper. It's a city that's only a 45-minute drive from Kotka, and it was one of my favorites. I surprisingly visited the small town of Porvoo 3 or 4 times during my stay in Finland. Probably because it's on the way to any city west of Kotka, but I really dig the small old town charm. The houses in the center are colored and shaped in no particular way. You'll have a greenhouse next to a pink house, next to a yellow store, next to a red barn. That, along with the cute boutique shops, narrow alleys, and hilly streets, are very nice on the eyes if I don't say so myself. Not to mention my favorite part, the river walk. Particularly the red shore houses. I can sit there all day watching those. Apparently before the King of Sweden was sailing down this river, the town painted all the houses along the shore to make them more aesthetically pleasing. I'd say mission accomplished. There's also a nice uphill climb along the river walk that leads you to some nice nature and views. Porvoo is a really nice visit because you can see the best of it in a day, but I have no doubt it'd be a pleasure to stay in this cozy town for much longer. Now you know we explored our local nature. Repovesi is one of the nearest national parks to Kotka. We stayed in a lakeside mukki, which is a Finnish-style cabin, and it was an incredible stay. A really cool part about the stay is that the lake in front of our cabin was completely frozen, so we were able to step outside and walk out into the middle of the lake, which is in the middle of a forest. There was also a sauna and plenty of wood, making it a real Finnish nature experience. A cool thing that we found nearby the mukki was an abandoned Russian helicopter in a random lot by itself. So you know we had to climb up in it and raid it. It was really cool to observe the interior of an out-of-commission chopper, but we quickly realized that junkies probably come here to have a good time. Or maybe it's just kids that come in here to drink, but it didn't have that vibe to me, so we bounced. Repovesi National Park was about a 30-minute drive from the cabin, and we did 2 trails while there. The first one was honestly pretty dangerous. There were a lot of very steep climbs that were coated in ice, and my Nike boots were not built for that. My partner Pina was killing it though, letting me know that she'd do this Finnish stuff. The trail for this one was not well marked after some point, but we also realized that we began on the wrong trail. We actually wanted to hit a trail with the hanging bridge, but we ended up on a little bridge. It was whelming to say the least, but the trail left us feeling very accomplished because of the level of difficulty with the ice. The next day we actually did the right trail and got to the big swinging bridge. It's not really swinging, but it's hanging. It was a rainy day, and because of that I believe it was a little underwhelming. It was also just a 15-minute walk from the parking lot, and because of the poor weather we turned back after hanging by the bridge for a bit. Another national park we hit up was called Valkmusa. It's much closer than Repovesi, being only about 40 minutes from Kotka. This was a nice snowy trail on the day we went as well, which we really enjoyed. Being in the middle of Finnish forest is a special experience. It feels like if you're silent, you can feel the trees breathing in, and they're also evenly spread out with no leaves in the winter, and you can walk through any part of the forest and not feel lost. Although you may get lost if you do that, because it all looks the same once you're deep in. And we found a cool little cave where we could hang out in solitude and have some snacks, which was awesome. And at the end of the trail, we found a rustic little cabin where people actually can have a rest and some snacks. There's also a fireplace outside and plenty of wood if you want to warm up or cook some food. It was a very picturesque cabin we spent a decent amount of time in. It was a nice pit stop along the trail. Now I hope you found this video enjoyable about the smaller towns in Finland that I visited. I spent most of my time in these places because that's where I was staying. And I know that's more of a personal time than a touristy video, because a lot of these places you might not go visit if you're only here for a short amount of time. But if you did choose to, if you stay here a little longer, I hope that you see these and they're helpful for you. Especially Porvoo and the national parks. I think those are a little more touristy, but there's a lot of gems inside of Kotka as well. And I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. All right, y'all. Peace.